Hey guys, we are here at Fort Verde State Historic Park, which is located in Camp Verde in Arizona. This is a this used to be a military post back in the frontier days. So let's go around and explore this place and learn its history. Let's go! Welcome to Camp Verde, Arizona, a quiet little town in the Verde Valley where the echoes of the Old West still linger. Located there is the Fort Verde State Historic Park. Once a U.S. Army outpost during the turbulent Indian Wars of the 1800s. Today, we're stepping back in time to explore its fascinating history, and then we'll take you on a walking tour through its well-preserved buildings to see what frontier life was really like. The story begins in 1865. Settlers and miners were moving into the Verde Valley, drawn by the fertile land and the promise of gold and copper. But this was also home to the Yavapai and Western Apache, native peoples whose lives were being disrupted by this new wave of settlement. To protect the settlers and secure U.S. interests, the Army established a series of camps along the Verde River. The first, a simple tent camp, rose on the banks of the West Clear Creek in August 1865. It was called Camp Lincoln. A few years later, the post moved to a higher ground, the very site we stand on now, and took a new name, Camp Verde. By 1878, it became permanent enough to earn a new title, Fort Verde. Here, soldiers of the 5th Cavalry and other regiments served under the command of General George Crook, fighting in campaigns against Apache and Yavapai groups throughout the rugged mountains of central Arizona. This was a time of enormous tension and tragedy. The military's mission was to relocate native peoples into reservations, often by force. From Fort Verde, troops launched patrols deep into the Verde Valley and the Masatzal Mountains, supported by Native American scouts who knew the terrain better than anyone. General Crook used Fort Verde as a logistical base. Soldiers built wagon roads to connect this post to Fort Whipple in Prescott and Fort Apache to the east. These roads allowed the Army to move men and supplies through some of the roughest country in Arizona. The fort never saw a major battle, but it was a hub of military activity. By the early 1880s, the fighting had mostly ended. The Battle of Big Dry Wash in 1882 marked one of the final engagements in Arizona's Indian Wars. After that, Fort Verde's guns grew silent. At its height, Fort Verde had about 22 buildings, officers' homes, bachelor quarters, barracks, stables, and mess halls, all arranged around an open parade ground. Unlike many frontier forts, Fort Verde wasn't walled or stockaded. The openness reflected a new phase in Arizona's frontier, more settlement, less direct threat. The soldiers' days followed a strict routine, drills, inspections, and chores. The parade ground was the heart of daily life. Families lived in the officers' quarters, children played in the dusty yards, and the sound of bugles marked every sunrise and sunset. The doctors stationed here focus unique challenges: limited medicine, isolation, and disease. Malaria once forced the fort to move locations. Between 1865 to 1891, 27 army doctors served here, tending to soldiers, families, and local civilians. By 1891, the army declared its mission complete and officially abandoned the post. The buildings were sold at an auction in 1899. Some became private homes, others fell into ruin, but the town of Camp Verde never forgot. Local citizens fought to preserve what remained. And in 1970, Fort Verde became an Arizona State Historic Park. Today, it stands as the best preserved example of an Indian Wars period fort in the entire state, a living window into the 19th century frontier.
So guys, we are still here in Fort Verde, and now let's take a walk through around this historic fort. Here in Arizona, most of the parks are pet friendly, just like this historic park. They allow the dogs outside, but in California, yeah, they don't allow any dogs inside the historic parks.
On one side stands the old administration building, now the park's visitor center. Built in the 1870s, from 1905 to 1915, it was used as an Indian boarding school. From 1915 to 1961, it was used as an apartment housing. From 1965 to 1970, it was a museum operated by Camp Verde Museum Association. In 1970, it entered Arizona State Park system to be preserved. Inside, you'll find displays of uniforms, weapons, maps, and letters that tell the story of life on the frontier. It's the perfect place to start your visit. The current entrance fee is $7 per person.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too.
Yeah, please thank your sister again for her service.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate that. Bye-bye.
Commanding Officer's Quarters. Located across the parade ground. It is home to Fort Verde's highest-ranking officer and his family. This is the master bedroom, which is located downstairs. Built in the 1870s, Second Empire style with a mansard roof, this 1.5-story home features 10 rooms and a rare piece adobe walls. A ramp earth technique that was quicker to build and more water resistant than adobe bricks. Across the hallway is the parlor, where the owner entertained his guests. Inside, Victorian furnishings, lace curtains, and a piano in the parlor revealed a touch of refinement amid the Arizona wilderness. This is usually the daughter's bedroom. This is the other children's room. And the door behind it is the striker's room, which is an enlisted man who usually help around the house. Back downstairs at the back of the house is the dining area. On this very porch in 1873, Tonto Apache Chief Charlie Poon and 300 of his followers surrendered to General George Crook. The commanding officer, usually a senior captain earning $166 a month, maintained a genteel household befitting his role at the center of the frontier military life. This is a fort garden. Like other remote army posts, soldiers often lack basic foods like milk, butter, eggs, and fresh vegetables. Meat was sometimes spoiled, and food-related illnesses such as scurvy were common. To improve their diets, many forts planted gardens to supplement standard rations. This is the outhouse. This is the kitchen. Most kitchens lack some of the conveniences in which we are accustomed. Drinking water was stored in barrels and was brought by hand, wagon, or mule from the spring on Beaver Creek. Next, we visit the Bachelor's officers' quarters, where unmarried officers shared rooms, meals, and stories. The furnishings were simple: iron beds, wooden desks, and pot-belly stoves. You can almost picture a young lieutenant writing home by lamplight. Life here was modest, with low pay, slow promotions, and long field assignments. Though designed for 3 bedrooms, officers often doubled up so repairs could be made. A rear kitchen served all residents and doubled as living space for a striker, an enlisted man who handled cooking and chores. Built of pise adobe and later covered in cement stucco, the building still shows its original adobe walls at the back. Site of married officers' quarters. The foundation here once supported a 2-story officers' quarters. It is identical to the commanding officer's home but with a reverse layout. After the army left, it was sold for $25 in 1910 and converted into a barn. Heavy snow later caused the roof to collapse, and the building was torn down in the 1930s. Of the original 22 buildings of the fort, only 4 remain today. They were built by enlisted men with help from civilian craftsmen, adobe made by Mexican laborers and sometimes local convicts. Our next stop is the doctors' and surgeons' quarters, part home and part hospital. This building shows how frontier medicine relied as much on improvisation as on science. The tiny operating room and shelves of glass bottles reveal how limited supplies were. Every fever or wound was a test of skill. Each post had its own physician. In the fort, surgeon lived here, treating patients and performing surgeries. The nearby hospital, run by a matron, served for quarantine and recovery. Notably, several Fort Verde doctors, including Mearns, Coos, and Palmer, went on to earn fame in natural science and exploration. As we return to the parade ground, take a moment to look around. The grass may have been replaced with dust, but this space once echoed with marching boots, children's laughter, and the whinny of cavalry horses. Each building tells a story, not just of soldiers and settlers, but of the Yavapai and Apache who lived on this land long before the army arrived. Fort Verde's history is both proud and painful, a reflection of a nation expanding westward, and the culture is forever changed by it. The fort's flagpole, designed like a 19th century ship mast, uses upper and lower timbers to avoid needing a single tall log. Scarce and hard to transport on the frontier. The current cedar pole is a 1970s reproduction of the original. Today, Fort Verde stands not as a place of conflict but of remembrance. It honors the soldiers who served, the families who endured, and the native peoples whose homelands were forever altered. If you ever find yourself in central Arizona, take the time to walk these grounds. Smell the creosote after a desert rain, listen to the quiet wind that carries the voices of history. Because here, in the heart of Camp Verde, the past isn't gone. It's alive with every beam, every room, and every echo of the bugle at dawn.
All in all, this is a great place to visit. Not a lot of people, and the staff, they were really helpful and very nice. And it's beautiful, it's well preserved. Okay guys, until next time, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Bye. If you like our videos, please click thumbs up for like.
Hit the bell to subscribe!
Please comment.
And don't forget to share!